failure. Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the Quran and the three types of people who have become the recipient of Quran. فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. Those who have transgressed, those who are keeping their focus on, and those who are excelling in goodness. So we have already discussed the three details in the last week's session. After that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the people of Jannah and what type of benefits they will have. After the discussion of Jannah as it is the Quranic format, then whenever Allah speaks anything of good, glad tidings, He also speaks about warnings. And this is called the sequence of targhib and tarhib. Sometimes the tarhib is brought before the targhib, and sometimes the targhib is brought before tarhib. Targhib means the virtue of and receiving good reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of your good deeds. And tarhib means warning if you do not follow. So if you see in the sequence of the ayat, whenever Allah talks about Jahannam, He also talks about Jannah. Whenever He talks about Jannah, He also talks about Jahannam. Why? So that people's inclination goes towards Jannah and they are not, going towards hellfire. And also that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He speaks the beauty of Jannah, He is encouraging the believers to strive for this. And part of encouragement is to provide warning, because if you don't do this, then there is this circumstances and consequences. So now, after the discussion of Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the hellfire by the people who have neglected, الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. And those who have disbelieved or neglected the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah says for them is naru Jahannam, the fire of Jahannam. لا يقضى عليهم فيموتوا. Allah Azza wa Jal says that neither they will be sentenced to death in this fire of hell. ولا يخفف عنهم من عذابها. And there will be no decrease in the type of punishment that is given to them. Now, we ask Allah to protect us from this situation. We ask Allah to make us among those who receive Jannah on the Day of Judgment. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. But just to describe what Allah is saying, that those who have disbelieved, those who did not follow, those who did not take the orders of Allah seriously, then for them there is the hellfire. لا يقضى عليهم فيموتوا ولا يخفف عنهم من عذابها. When a person is going through physical torture, the torture gets to a level where there is no more a person, he cannot handle the pain anymore. And then what happens? A person, his heart shuts down. And when the heart shuts down, the person dies. Because the heart was not able to bear that much of difficulty and pain. But when you die and you are resurrected and your destination becomes hellfire, there is no more death. So there is no end to that. وَلَا يُخَفَّفُ عَنْهُم مِّنْ عَذَابِهَا. And Allah says the punishment will not be lessened also, because when you get to a certain level of bearing pain, after that to bear that pain becomes easier, because now your body has developed the ability of enduring that pain. Right? When a person let's say an area of his body is hurting. For the first time it's very severe. As the days go past, the pain becomes easier to handle as the day goes, because your body develops the ability, the strength to take care of that pain. But Allah says, and may Allah protect everyone, Allah Azza wa Jal says that on the Day of Judgment, those who have been given hellfire, their pain will never increase. As your body develops the ability to endure that pain, your pain will increase to the next level. وَلَا يُخَفَّفُ عَنْهُم مِّنْ عَذَابِهَا. And then Allah says, كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي كُلَّ كَفُورٍ. And this is how we compensate every negligent and every unthankful individual. Kafur is from kafara. There are two categories of kafara. Because the literal meaning of kafara means to be unthankful. Right? A person is, Allah Azza wa Jal says, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ وَلَإِن كَفَرْتُمْ إِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. If you thank Allah, Allah will give you more. And if you're not thankful to Him, then His punishment is severe. So, anyone who is neglecting the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, remember one thing, a believer who passes away in a stage of Iman, and he has some shortcomings, either one of the two scenarios, Allah will forgive his shortcomings with His mercy and grant him Jannah, and he doesn't need to go to the hellfire. And if that doesn't happen, then a person needs to go and get his sins wiped out in the hellfire before he can go into Jannah. So anyone who dies with Iman, he's been granted, inshallah, one day he will go into paradise. Hellfire is not for eternal. Allah Azza wa Jal talks about those people who have died without Iman, without believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because khulud fin nar is for these people who have died without believing in Allah Azza wa Jal. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي كُلَّ كَفُورٍ وَهُمْ يَسْتَرِخُونَ فِيهَا. Ayah number 37. Allah Azza wa Jal says, they will be crying therein. صَرَخَ يَصْرُخُ means to cry out loud because of pain. When a person is going through a lot of pain, he cries out loud. So Allah says the people who have neglected, died in that neglecting stage, they are going to be crying out loud. They're going to be screaming in the hellfire. And what will be their scream about? رَبَّنَا أَخْرِجْنَا نَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا غَيْرَ الَّذِي كُنَّا نَعْمَلْ. They will say, oh Allah, take us out from this hell, send us back into this world, and we are going to change our action and make ourselves better. Now, this will be the cry of the people of hellfire. رَبَّنَا أَخْرِجْنَا مِنْهَا نَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا غَيْرَ الَّذِي كُنَّا نَعْمَلْ. We are going to do actions what we did not do. We will listen, we will follow orders, we are going to do this, we are going to do this. Look at the reply of Allah to them. Allah says, أَوَلَمْ نُعَمِّرْكُمْ مَا يَتَذَكَّرُ فِيهِ مَنْ تَذَكَّرَ وَجَاءَكُمُ النَّذِيرُ فَذُوقُوا فَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ نَصِيرٍ. Allah says, we already gave you enough chances in this dunya. أَوَلَمْ نُعَمِّرْكُمْ مَا يَتَذَكَّرُ فِيهِ. Have we not given you that much life through which you can understand your responsibility in this world? And وَجَاءَكُمُ النَّذِيرُ. And many warning came to you. Now what is this nadhir? Allah says we gave you enough life. So number one is, what is that lifespan? So Mufassirun have many different opinions to this. Starting all the way from the age of 16 to the age of 60. That if you have been given this much life and you didn't fix yourself, then you are going towards a wrong direction. But majority or a lot of the Mufassirun, they are agreeing upon the age of 40. Because that's quarter tank left. When you get to the age of 40, you know, over here a person is 60 and 70 and they're like, you know, he's so young, mashallah. Huh? So young, mashallah. A person died, it's like he died 75. He was so young. Well, that's the cutoff time. 60, 70 is you're done. So when you get to 40, you know, when you drive your car, you have a full tank and half tank and then a quarter tank remaining. So when that quarter tank remaining, if you're going on a long drive, you are thinking of already in your mind that which gas station I need to plan myself to, you know, fill up gas from. So when you reach the age of 40, your quarter tank left. And then soon is your destination. As the Prophet ﷺ said, أَعْمَارُ أُمَّتِي بَيْنَ السِّتِّينَ أَوْ سَبْعِينَ. that majority of my ummah will live from 60 to 70 years. Right? So now, if you get to 60, now it's time, any time it can be cut off. And if you get to 70, you've already went up to your limit. And anything above 70 is overtime. Overtime. So the scholars say that, Mufassirun say, when you get to the age of 40, this is when you start thinking about this. أَوَلَمْ نُعَمِّرْكُمْ مَا يَتَذَكَّرُ فِيهِ مَنْ تَذَكَّرُ. We've given you enough life to think about what you need to do. Imam Ghazali rahimahullah mentions, when you pass 40 mark, and your good deeds are not above your bad deeds, then you really got to think about which direction you're going. If your good actions have not overpowered or become higher and more than your shortcomings, then you really got to seriously think about which direction you're going for. Because after 40, a believer's good deeds increase and his bad deeds decrease. And as he progresses throughout his years in his life, he needs to work on that, to maintain his good deed above and making sure that the bad actions are down. And of course, a lot of times a person is committing sin and he's not even realizing that he's committing sin. You know, we consider a lot of actions that we do, like for example, looking at haram is a sin, eating something that is not lawful, that is a sin. But there are a lot of sins that we do and we say and we do things with our own tongue. The Prophet ﷺ said that the most dangerous limb of your body is your tongue, because this tongue commits most of the sins of your day. The tongue. Right? The Prophet ﷺ said, when you see the hellfire, the majority of the people will go into the hellfire because of the tongue. And this tongue is the one that commits most amount of sins in the entire day. Because the person is able to stay away all of this, but then he's not able to control this. And when he's not able to control this, that is enough for a person to go towards the hellfire. That's why he needs to control actions, he needs to control his mind, he needs to control the way he thinks, the way he does things. So, أَوَلَمْ نُعَمِّرْكُمْ مَا يَتَذَكَّرُ فِيهِ مَنْ تَذَكَّرُ وَجَاءَكُمُ النَّذِيرُ. And a warner came to you. Now, who is this warner? Some of the Mufassirun say it is a death that happens in your family. Because now, the angel of death have knocked on your door. So he knows your address. He knows where you live. So this is a nadhir, this is a reminder. Some of the Mufassirun say when you start having to see white hair on your beard, on your hair, that's nadhir, that's the reminder that it's time to depart, we're going. Some of them say it is Anbiya alayhimus salam, or anyone who follows the footsteps of Anbiya. However, nadhir can be anything that reminds you of your death. وَجَاءَكُمُ النَّذِيرُ. And throughout the entire day of every believer, Allah gives him many opportunities for him to think about that what he needs to do and which direction he is going. فَذُوقُوا فَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِن نَصِيرٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, taste what you have done for yourself. There is no help for those who have become oppressors. Zalim. Allah says anyone who does not obey Allah and he dies in a stage of that, he's considered zalim. Why? Because dhulm means وَضْعُ الشَّيْءِ فِي غَيْرِ مَحَلِّهِ. Something where it doesn't belong and you keep it there, that's dhulm. That's oppression. Something belongs. So with people, it belongs justice. If you don't do it, then that's dhulm. Your heart and your mind is been created by Allah and you've been sent into this world to recognize Allah Azza wa Jal. And unfortunately, if a person dies without recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has committed dhulm. Why? Because Allah created him for something. Allah created him so that he can recognize and worship Allah, but he didn't do that. He did something else. So he did an oppression. And this oppression is between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah says, فَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِن نَصِيرٍ. There is no help for those who are oppressor. We ask Allah to grant us the understanding. Inshallah, we'll continue from ayah number 38. We ask Allah to make us amongst the fortunate ones and save us from the fire of hell. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakum Allahu khairan. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.